Hey there guys, Portal Master here, and in today's video I am going to be talking about why I think a Skylanders game in 2022 actually makes a lot of sense. So, if you haven't been keeping up with the leaks, I strongly advise you to go back and look at the videos, at least get a brief idea. You don't have to watch the whole thing. You can if you won't, I'd really appreciate it. But if you can get a general idea of what's been rumored to be going on in the Skylanders community right now, that would probably clear up a lot of things that I'm going to be talking about in this video. But basically I'm going to be talking about, again, why I think Skylanders 2022 makes sense. I'm just going to jump right in. When Crash Bandicoot was first announced to have his remake in 2017, there were leaked internal reports from Activision that there was a 5-year plan for the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Now, initially, a lot of fans didn't know what to make of this because a lot of people also thought that there were rumors of a Spyro remaster to some degree, and this confused a lot of people, including myself. They saw, essentially, that Vicarious Visions created Crash Bandicoot in 2017, and then they saw that Toys for Bob was hiring for some type of a game, and they were very confused. People like myself originally thought that it could be a Skylanders 7 game coming back, like maybe just a 2-year break or something like that, like go a Skylanders game in 2016, not one in 2017, but bring it back in 2018. That was what some people thought. Some people saw internal hiring reports for a multiplayer game and sort of excluded Spyro. They thought Toys for Bob was working on an all-new original game of some variety. They were very, very confused because, well, unless they were working on a brand new Crash Bandicoot game, that wouldn't really make a lot of sense. Vicarious Visions was working on Crash Bandicoot. Well, turns out it was actually a 5-year plan for Crash and for Spyro, because in 2017 we saw the Crash Bandicoot released. Next year we saw the Spyro Reignited trilogy coming out in the end of 2018. So this started off with the first 2 years of this 5-year plan. Of course, last year in 2019 we saw the third title for this 5-year plan release. Unfortunately, I don't have this one in my possession, but it was Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing was the 2019 master plan title that Toys for Bob and Vicarious Visions have been juggling back and forth with each other. While Crash Team Racing was originally a game made with, I believe, just Crash Bandicoot in it, I'm not entirely sure if Spyro was actually originally present in it. There was a lot of Spyro content that was added that was not in the original that sort of supplemented it, essentially making it a crossover between the two franchises, and I thought that was kind of cool. So that was the third year of their master 5-year plan. Of course, now we're in 2020, and recently Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, has been revealed, which is going to be a full-fledged $60 game with over 100 levels, which was actually just revealed today to be the case. So it's like a full game. It's essentially one game the size of all 3 of the Crash Bandicoot original games, which I actually think is really cool, and that's one of the reasons why I am going to 100% be buying that on day one. Also, I really want that sick hourglass that they're doing as like a pre-order promo. But anyway, that's the 2020 launch title, or that's the 2020 title, is what I'm trying to say. So that makes year 4 of their 5-year plan. Well, we're nearing the end of their 5-year plan, and essentially we're looking at what is most likely in 2021 going to be a Spyro original game. Now, internal reports that I have read from Activision have said that they are wary of releasing more than one kids game in a single year. Now, as you know, there have been recent rumors about a Skylanders game being somewhere in development at Toys for Bob. So a lot of people are kind of curious what's going on because, you know, if they're making the Crash game right now, they would have to turn it right around to release it in 2021, and that could be incredibly difficult for them to do. But if you're looking at a 2022 release for a game, not only does that actually give Toys for Bob recuperation time, but I actually think it makes a lot of sense. So what we're looking at here, year 1 is Crash, year 2 is Spyro, year 3 is a crossover game. Year 4 is Crash, year 5 is Spyro, and you're looking at what comes next. What is the 2022 title for these two franchises? And honestly, I don't know. There's one other obvious thing that it could be, and that is a Crash Bash remake. I don't know if they'd make Crash Bash again, and they could like combine it with Spyro characters. That's the only other thing that could be made for that 2022 release cycle without actually creating some type of original content, which is not off the table, but Skylanders was, in its final form, Skylanders Imaginators, a crossover game between Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. And I think that if they decided to make Skylanders 7 Crash and Spyro's Adventure, or something along those lines, that makes a lot of sense, and it would line up with the rumors that we've heard. Now, I know that I've been saying Skylanders 2021 a lot, and that's not off the table. Even with everything we've heard, Skylanders 2021 is definitely not off the table. Maybe you don't think it's likely, maybe you don't believe Skylanders is coming back anytime soon at all, but I think you have to admit that there's at least a little bit of logic to be had for it coming back in 2022. Plus, we'd be looking at the end of the first 5-year plan. I have no doubt in my mind that Activision's plan, since the Crash Bandicoot game came out and was successful, was like, okay, Spyro's remaster is also going to do well. We can really just predict that based off the sales of this thingy, which means that we can go ahead with Crash Team Racing. Since Crash sold well, we'll go ahead and greenlight, the original Crash Bandicoot game that's going to come out in 2020, and assuming the Spyro game comes out and does well, we will go ahead and greenlight a direct sequel to Spyro. So, Activision's been sitting on this for a while. The latest that they could have had all of this planned out by is literally 2018. That is the absolute latest they could have had their master plan completely figured out for their kids' franchises. But a lot of companies and a lot of, honestly, entities that tend to come up with blocks of plans like that will wait until the end of that particular block to figure out what the next phase of their plan looks like. I think you could probably look at Marvel as an example of this. I think that they tend to wait until they get closer to the end of their previous phase of movies to sort of figure out how they're going to lay out their next one. I know they have a master plan and they have a general idea of where they want to take the franchises, but they, I think, order and they try to reveal it towards the end of the previous phase, sometimes even afterwards, so that they can best optimize their plan going forward. If they were trying to add some type of a title to the lineup, which could be something like Skylanders, which would be the first game of their next 5-year cycle if they so chose to do one, then it would make sense to sort of wait and see how these spin-off things do. Skylanders, by the time we get to 2022, it will have been literally... It'll have been 5 years since Skylander figures came out at all, and it'll have been 6 years since the Skylanders game actually came out. It will have been a while for things to have settled down and for them to have come up with a new way for things to be profitable. I said in one of my previous videos, I'm not entirely sure when this one's going to end up going live, that it sounds to me like this leak just implies that Toys for Bob is at the beginning stages of development, which to me implies a 2022 release date. Again, doesn't preclude a 2021 one, but it's really hard to say when we're operating on such limited information from a source that may not even be telling the truth. It's super hard to say, but I think that this is something that anyone that's interested in these leaks and in these rumors should keep in mind. And honestly, even if you don't believe these rumors, you cannot honestly tell me that this doesn't sound at least a little bit of a possibility. Maybe you think a Crash Bash remake is what will fill that slot, but I don't honestly think you can tell me with 100% certainty that a crossover franchise Skylanders game doesn't sound like it makes a little bit of sense in that slot. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comments, but I think that I'm right, and this is at least making a little bit of sense. So I'm not going to keep rambling on, but what I am curious to know about is what you guys think about this. This was actually something that I only came up with earlier today when I was thinking back to older videos I'd made, and I remembered how I covered that Activision had a 5-year master plan in one of my previous videos. And when I say previous videos, I'm talking literally 2 or 3 years ago at this point. So it kind of just came to me and I was like, wait, this makes sense, kind of. Let's throw it out and see if it sticks. So that's what I'm doing. So tell me down in the comments what you think, please. That's all for now. This has been Portal Master. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Please go drop me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. I'm trying my hardest to be active on both of those platforms. That's all for now, and I will see you guys next time.